So let me get this straight. China is in the middle of a once in a thousand years demographic crisis. The population is collapsing. The labor force is shrinking fast. Schools are closing. Diaper sales are falling off a cliff. And the CCP's big genius solution? Drum roll, please. Give parents $500 a year for each child under 3. Yes, my friends, Xi Jinping's master plan to reverse the collapse of 1.4 billion people is basically a discounted Netflix subscription and a few boxes of diapers. Let's talk about why this desperate baby bonus is too little too late, and why it's going to crash harder than China's housing market. Here's the reality. Raising a kid in modern China isn't cheap. It is a full-blown financial suicide mission. We're talking about housing prices that make LA look affordable, cram school fees that could fund a small army, grandparents roped in as 24/7 unpaid nannies, and a hyper-competitive education system that turns childhood into a PTSD factory. And now the government is handing out a whopping 3,600 yuan a year per child. That's 300 yuan a month, equivalent to $40. You know what that gets you in Shanghai? Maybe a week of fresh fruit, or 2 piano lessons, or 1 conversation with your kid's math tutor before she recommends an 80,000 yuan a year program to stay competitive. Meanwhile, that same kid is growing up in a system that tells them, study hard or die poor, have no fun or die unemployed, have no siblings or die alone. So yeah, tell me how 300 yuan a month is going to fix that. Let's be generous and pretend that money matters. What could you actually do with the magical 500 US dollars? You could buy 100 packs of diapers and make it through maybe half the year, or pay for a 1/5 of a decent stroller, or afford 3 days in a tier 2 hospital for childbirth, assuming nothing goes wrong. Oh wait, you could also use it to pay your therapist when you realize your toddler has 5 or 6 hours of daily homework at age of 4. Because let's not forget, in China, having a baby isn't just about biology. It's a class war, an education lottery, and a bureaucratic maze rolled into one. If you don't own property, if you're not hukou privileged, if you don't have grandparents to help, good luck. $500 won't even get you in the door. Here's the real kicker. China doesn't have a money problem when it comes to birth. It has a life problem. Young people don't want kids because they don't want to raise them in a pressure cooker. They don't want to marry. They don't want to slave away for a 996 job while their parents nag them about grandchildren. And they definitely don't want to bring kids into a society where gender inequality is baked into the system. Parental leave is a joke. Childcare is either non-existent or astronomically priced. And the government tells them how many kids they can have, and then changes its mind every 5 years. This isn't just about financial incentives. It's about the quality of life. It's about freedom, dignity, and not feeling like you're being bred for the nation's GDP statistics. $500 isn't a baby subsidy. It's hush money. It's the government tossing spare change at a burning building and hoping that the fire just puts itself out. Let's do a quick regional comparison. Japan, they have been handing out child allowances for decades and still struggling. South Korea, they're basically begging people to marry and have kids. Free IVF, free childcare, extended leave. Still no baby boom. Why? Because people don't just need money, they need hope. In China, people see a government that built ghost cities instead of schools, that poured trillions into Belt and Road projects in Pakistan while its own moms wash diapers in cold communal sinks, that shamed women out of careers, and now wonders why they don't want to be moms. Unless Beijing is ready to rethink the entire structure of modern Chinese life, from work culture to gender norms to property rights, no amount of baby bonuses is going to fix it. Let me get personal for a second. I have friends in China, educated, successful in their prime years for child raising, who told me straight up, they say they'd rather raise a cat than a child in China. Why? Because a cat doesn't need a hukou. A cat doesn't have to take the gaokao exam. And a cat won't grow up in a country where the future just feels like a cage. This $500 subsidy, it's not a solution. It's a symbol of how little the government understands the people it rules. They still think this is just a numbers game. Give a little spare change and people will crank out babies. But the Chinese people aren't numbers. They are tired. They are disillusioned. And no amount of propaganda or handouts is going to reverse that overnight. You can't throw money at a soul-crushing system and expect joy to sprout. So good luck, CCP. Your $500 baby bonus might buy a stroller, it might buy some diapers, but it won't buy back hope. And it won't buy a future in a country where the smartest decision might be to never have kids at all. Like, comment, and share if you think China's baby policy is a total joke, or if you seriously think it will help boost China's birth rate. I read every comment, and thanks for watching.